This behind one of the Manchester wood
Mount Equinox on that side, and into.
I was born in Reading, Vermont.
by gunsmith John Dowd in Goshen, Connecticut. So he died in March. He was buried. And luckily. And hi, this is Shawn from the Manchester Historical Society for another edition of Timestamp. I'm here with my handy helper here, carrying in a sign from the Manchester Journal office, and here's an even older one. These were gifts of Poppy Gall in memory of her mother, Gail Lee Gall, and these actually graced the Manchester Journal for many years. And these are just two of the signs that we're going to be hanging up a little bit later over there in the press corner, but for now I really want to show you this wonderful room and all the signs of businesses past and organizations past of Manchester. The first sign we're going to talk about is Healys. Healys was a staple grocery store in Manchester Depot on Elm Street. You may know it today as Alducci's, but it was started in the 1920s by T.J. Healy. He was a man about town, a member of a lot of the organizations, and people during the winter that time, they would come in, he would lay out credit for them, they would ring up their bills all through the winter, and when the summer people came back, everybody would have work and they would be able to pay down all those bills from the winter. And we actually happen to know who painted the sign. She is still alive. The next sign we're going to talk about is the Munson House. The Munson House was originally owned by Jeremiah French. Now Jeremiah French turned Tory during the American Revolution, and his properties were confiscated and sold. The Munson family consequently purchased it, and they turned it into a tavern, and it remained a tavern for many years. You might know it today as the 1811 House, which is owned by the Equinox Resort in Manchester Village, located on Main Street. In 1905, Abraham Lincoln's granddaughter, Mary Lincoln Isham, and her husband Charles became owners of the property. Charles died in 1919, and Mary continued to live there with her son, Lincoln Isham, until she died in 1939. Today, the 1811 House remains a popular destination for summer visitors. The Harvest Inn sign was donated to the Manchester Historical Society by the Gutbeer family, who are proprietors of the Harvest Inn. The sign was painted by Fritz Dillman, a well-known architect and artist who resided in Manchester for many years. Today, you'll know the Harvest Inn as Mulligan's of Manchester. And the next sign we're going to talk about is the Mount Equinox Grange sign. Now, the Mount Equinox Grange was located on School Street over by Mems. Many generations of Grangers here in Manchester. You may remember the Grange was very famous because Baby Boom, remember the movie back in the 80s, was shot there. The other thing, just like everything else in this area, has been repurposed. And today, the Grange are high-end apartments. The Combination Cash Store is one of our oldest signs in the collection. It was repurposed many times, but it dates probably to the 1880s. A lot of you remember the Combination Cash Store. It's been around for a long time, sold, in fact, that the cameraman, he remembers going there as a kid. The Combination Cash Store is one of the oldest buildings in town, built in the 1840s, and the north part of the store used to sell carriages, as you'll see in this picture right here. Today, it's home of the Mountain Goat. And the next two signs we're going to talk about are connected. Up here we have Mr. Foster's Remembrance Shops, gifts, confectionery, and postcards. And over here we have the Johnny Appleseed Bookstore. Why are they connected? Because they were in the bank building on Main Street in Manchester Village, just north of the Equinox. That brick building still has a vault in it. It was built as the Manchester Bank, which became the Battenkill Bank and became the Factory Point National Bank eventually, and was also robbed more than once. Maybe that'll be a show we'll do sometime. The Colonial Theater was opened in Manchester Depot in 1919. It's a brick building on the corner of Highland Avenue and Elm Street. This sign came to us from Manchester Selectman John Kennedy, who, when the Manchester Historical Society was in for a meeting, said, "I have 3 signs." His son had called him one morning and said, "I see signs being taken out of this basement and put into a dumpster. It seems a shame that these are being thrown away." So he went down and he rescued the signs from the dumpster, and he kept them in his barn for the past few years until we were sitting right in front of him and he had this great idea. "I have these signs. Would you like them?" So remember, if you see anything going into the dumpster, you see things at yard sales, anything that you think the Manchester Historical Society would be interested in, things that we can hang up, things that we can display, things that we can share and talk about, make sure you give us a call. So until we see you next time, this is Shawn at the Historical Society.